Other partner here, Bobby Ches, first up, the IBF middleweight championship. Robert Allen, what are his chances against the man many consider the best middleweight in the world, Bernard Hopkins?
Well, Steve, Bernard Hopkins is considered by many, including myself, to be the man in the middleweight division, the best of the world champions, the best of the entire division. But the last time he faced a very tough southpaw, highly rated Joe Lipsy, he had a lot of trouble early and had to come back. He had to readjust, use his counterpunching, his boxing skills, and unload with some powerful counterpunching to win that title, well, to keep that title. Now, tonight he faces another tremendous southpaw with good power and maybe even better boxing skills, the #1 rated Robert Allen. I think this stacks up to be a great fight. Hopkins should be and will have to be at his very best.
All right, we'll see what happens before we get to our first bout. That man, Mike Tyson, is back in the news. The former heavyweight champ will have a hearing before the Nevada Athletic Commission on September the 19th. Tyson banned in July of '97 after biting Evander Holyfield's ears during their heavyweight championship fight. He was eligible to reapply for a license here in Las Vegas July 9th, but bypassed Nevada and went to New Jersey, withdrew his application prior to a ruling, and applied here in Nevada. For more on Tyson, let's check in with our man, Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Well, the 5 members of the commission will have a tough decision to make on September the 19th. Mark Radner is the executive director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Mark, just exactly what is the criteria that you will be judging Mike Tyson on? Is it his behavior on that night a year ago in June where he bit the ears, or is it his life? Is it the rape? Is it the hearing in New Jersey? Just exactly what is the criteria that gets him his license back?
Okay, the 5 commissioners will be asking questions from June 28th forward. Anything before that is not what we're talking about. There'll be no attorneys asking questions. It'll be the 5 commissioners. Each one will ask questions.
How annoyed were you that Mike Tyson, and how annoyed was the commission that he went to New Jersey first?
I don't think it was annoyance. We just felt strongly that this commission revoked him, and we thought that this was the right place for him to come, and I'm glad that he has reapplied here.
If you're simply judging him from June the 28th of a year ago up until now, what could possibly disqualify him or cause you people not to reinstate him and give him his license back?
As I said, each commissioner has several questions they want to ask him, and depending on what answers that he gives that night, they'll decide, or that morning, I should say.
Is it based on his answers, or is it based on his actions of the year? If you're basing it on his actions of the year, can you point to anything where he slipped up?
To the best of my knowledge, no. But they certainly have a lot of questions to ask from that night forward, and they will.
Now, a lot of people are going to wonder, is this simply an economic issue for Las Vegas and for the casinos here in town? Because Mike Tyson is the biggest draw out there. Will you capitulate and will you cower simply to economic pressures to bring Mike Tyson back?
He's the biggest draw that's ever been in this state in boxing, no question about it. But it goes much deeper than economics, and he'll get a fair, impartial hearing, and they'll ask him the questions. And I think if he answers all the questions to their satisfaction that day, then there will be a decision. There will be a decision that day. It is my belief of that. I always have the caveat of saying if there's some further questions they may have, then they could delay the vote. But I do believe that they will have a vote that day.
Needs 3 votes to be reinstated, 3 of the 5?
That's correct, just 3 votes.
The final thought in this whole process would be, is if Mike Tyson does not get relicensed by Nevada, are you concerned that what you will be doing is exporting the sport? Because he has offers from Nigeria, he has offers in Canada, Japan, and several other places. Will you then, in fact, be taking away Las Vegas and boxing out of this country? Because Mike Tyson is permitted to fight again. He just isn't permitted at this time to fight in Nevada.
That is correct. That is by definition, his license is revoked in the state of Nevada. And could he fight overseas? That would be a decision he would have to make. But all those factors will be, I believe, talked about and asked about, and a fair, impartial decision will be made.
Will be a big factor in the commission's judgment, though, that really you don't have much to hold him from preventing him to fight. You can only prevent him from fighting in Nevada, and if other states go along with that, that would prevent him from fighting in this country. But you do not have jurisdiction over preventing him from continuing his career.
No, that's correct. What I do know more than anything is never to guess what my commissioners will act or what they're really looking for. Each guy's an independent man, and they must make that decision.
Hasn't the punishment at this point fit the crime, so to speak, even though it wasn't a crime? Hasn't he lost enough money, $60, $70 million in income, paid a $3 million fine? Isn't it enough already, and maybe it's just time to move on?
Well, it's certainly, to the best of my knowledge, the biggest fine and penalty that an athlete has had. But once again, on September 19th, they'll make that decision.
Mark, we thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jim.
We look forward to September 19th.
Okay.
All right, Steve, that's the story on Mike Tyson, at least for now. Back to you.
All right, Jim, the debate over Mike Tyson rages on. Here's something really special for you Showtime viewers with internet access. We invite you to participate in an opinion poll on this subject. Log on to ShowtimeOnline.com, link to the boxing area. Once there, you can vote on whether or not you believe Mike Tyson should be relicensed in Nevada. The results will be announced and shown here live on Showtime during the event. Again, the question is, do you think Mike Tyson should be relicensed in Nevada? Also, log on if you'd like to vote for the fighter who you think is winning each round in our 2 championship fights tonight. Your entry will be added to those of other participants and instantly update the scoring webpage. We'll show you the results during the fight. Due to time zone considerations, tonight's voting will only be available to Showtime viewers watching the telecast live. Of course, your voting is for entertainment purposes only and will not influence the outcome of the fight. Once again, the web address is ShowtimeOnline.com. Well, we get ready for our first bout of the evening here at the Las Vegas Hilton Theater, the IBF Middleweight Championship featuring Bernard the Executioner Hopkins versus the #1 contender, Robert Allen. Some feel Hopkins could have trouble early with the southpaw Allen, but ultimately the champion's strength and ring savvy will overpower the challenger. Here's how Hopkins and Allen see it.
I think Robert Allen is a tough fighter. I believe he's out of his league with fighting Hopkins.
Since he claims he's the best middleweight in the world, he's always been a focal point for me and the person that I sit down, and anytime I think about a fight, I think about me and him.
This guy disrespecting me. Whatever you bring to the table, Robert Allen, let's do it. I can punch with either hand. I can box if you want to box. I can slug if you want to slug. Body shots. It's going to be a factor in this fight. And I say it again, and I want you to come after the fight and say, Bernard, you said it was going to be body shots. Body shots. It's going to be the factor in this fight.
Nobody never really goes to my body because they don't get a chance to go to my body. You won't get a chance to go to my body. Anytime he reaches a punch anywhere close to my face, he's going to hit. I'm countering everything. Bell rings, fight. It's time to fight. See who the executioner is, what he's all about.
You know, you got 2 days to get your last meal before the executioner happens. By law, steak and potatoes is on me. I'll pay for it. Hey, dock it off my purse.
Well, they certainly both talk a good game, but why is this a quality mandatory bout? It seems to have the elements of a good competitive fight.
It is a very good competitive fight, maybe the best fight of the night, because Hopkins is already there. I mean, he is as good as he's going to get. He's there. And the other guy's about a year away, but with great potential to come up for an upset. I wouldn't call it much of an upset if he wins. If he wins, it's a good competitive fight, and he really came up in quality. If he loses, it's no disgrace because Hopkins should win this fight.
Well, I suspect as we turn back to Bobby Ches that speed and quickness would be keys against a tough guy like Bernard Hopkins. Let's get your keys to victory for both fighters.
For Bernard Hopkins, the champion, he's on the right here. He's got great ability to adjust. Here against Joe Lipsy. Lipsy leads as a southpaw with a straight left hand. Hopkins makes the move to the right while countering with the left hook. And then he takes that vicious right uppercut, one of the big keys to victory on the inside. And you'll see this shot. It's unbelievable. The timing is just perfect. Lipsy never sees it. And here you can see Lipsy's out. Bernard Hopkins sees that. He's a terrific finisher. He'll fire the right hand, the double left hook behind it, and another crushing right hand. That right hand and that right uppercut are key for him. And Lipsy is all but out on his feet. Now, Robert Allen's a little different. Robert Allen here in the blue on the left. He likes to use his jab not as a punisher, but more as a feeler. He uses that as a range finder. He'll move around his opponent. He'll throw a jab, 2 jabs, sometimes even more, to find the range. You see these jabs are not very effective at hurting anybody or scoring punches, but he's getting his range. Then he'll reset himself. You see resets. He'll throw a straight left hand after another jab, a right uppercut, and another left hand, and another right uppercut, each time getting better range. And the last right uppercut, that's it. It's lights out. The opponent is crushed. These guys have terrific skills, and they match up very well, Steve.
Well, if you're concerned about Allen's southpaw stance, don't worry. Hopkins Hopkins isn't. He's 5-0 with 5 knockouts against lefties. Robert Allen, the mandatory challenger, rated #1 by the IBF. His first world title attempt. Former USBA middleweight champion, a former member of the All-Marine boxing team. The Armed Forces junior middleweight title holder, invited to try out for the '92 Olympic team, but lost the decision to Raul Marquez. Lost his first pro fight in '93. Didn't discourage him. Rebounded with 16 straight wins. Then he lost a middleweight elimination bout to Brian Barbosa in '96. But he's 5-0 since, the last 3 by KO off the impressive 3rd round TKO over Lloyd Bryan in January. That is a picture of his late trainer, Abdul Malik Muhammad, who was tragically killed this past May by a drunk driver. He has dedicated this fight to his late trainer. Well, Ferdy, I got to ask you, part of Hopkins' MO is the fear or intimidation factor. But Allen, an ex-Marine, told us, forget that. He's not buying into that stuff.
Listen, anybody who's gone through the Marine Corps stuff has not got any business being scared of any human being on earth. I don't buy intimidation when it comes to an ex-Marine. I think both of them don't bring any intimidating factor. They're just going to face each other and go at it. I picture an early war. Even though Hopkins is a slow starter, it's going to be a war.
He's going to have to be armed and dangerous for Bernard Hopkins. I'm just not sure if Allen is in the same league or bracket as the executioner. The champion. Well, he used to enter the ring wearing an executioner's mask. Remember those days? Wild get-up. Toned it down a little bit. He has shed the big-time costume, but retained the nickname. Decided to show his face. As Bobby pointed out, arguably the best middleweight in the world today. And given the long and proud tradition of Philadelphia middleweights, Hopkins surprisingly the only 160-pound world champion from that boxing-rich city. He won the title in '95 over Segundo Mercado. 7 title defenses, 6 by KO off a 6th-round TKO over former world champion Simon Brown in January. And Bobby, as they flash the belt, many of Hopkins' opponents have been reluctant to get in there and punch, real hard for fear of Hopkins counterpunching, which is a primary and effective weapon of his. How does Allen deal with that?
Allen has to box smart from the outside, Steve, but he has to get inside, and he has to hit Bernard Hopkins, and he has to hurt him a little bit to gain his respect. If you don't get Bernard's respect, you're going to get run through. And if Allen can do that and counterpunch very effectively, he stands a chance of pulling off the upset.
So just for the record, Bobby Chaz, and even a hint of upset in the air from the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco. We'll see what happens. Of course, this man, Bernard Hopkins, has other ideas. Let's check the numbers as we go to the tail of the tape. Hopkins at 33, 4 years older than Allen. A 2.5-inch height advantage for Hopkins. Hopkins just under the limit at yesterday's weigh-in, and the reach is nearly even. And the key unified rules for this world championship fight: no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Now, if an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 4th round, the fight is ruled a no contest. If it happens after the end of round 4, they go to the scorecard. So here at the Las Vegas Hilton Theater, we are getting set for the IBF Middleweight Championship. Bernard Hopkins versus Robert Allen. Let's get the formal introductions from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you. We welcome you to the Las Vegas Hilton in Las Vegas, Nevada, as we have a big night of action coming away. A World Middleweight Championship doubleheader brought to you courtesy of Don King Productions in association with the Las Vegas Hilton. At this time, we present our first World Championship attraction. It is sanctioned by the International Boxing Federation. The President, Robert Lee Sr., Supervisor at ringside, Darrell Peoples, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The Chairman is Dr. Elias Ghanem. Now introducing to you our judges scoring this bout from ringside: Mike Liana, Bill Graham, and Glenn Hamada. Presenting to you at this time a referee in charge of this bout. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions. Working in this, his 103rd world title bout, Mills Lane. All right, fans, here we go with the IBF Middleweight Championship of the World, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first on my right, the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with black and white trim, fighting out of Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Houma, Louisiana. He weighed in at the middleweight limit of 160 pounds even, with a record of 22 wins, 2 losses. He has 17 wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing the challenger, the IBF #1 ranked middleweight contender. Here is Robert Armed and Dangerous Allen. And his opponent across the ring is the defending world champion. On my left, fighting out of the red corner, he is wearing black trunks with gold trim and hailing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at a trim and ready 159 pounds. His record stands at 34 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 26 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight he is making the 8th defense of his title. Please welcome the IBF middleweight champion of the world, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins.
Ain't been eating long enough.
Once again, our referee in charge, Mills Lane, now to give instructions.
Okay, gentlemen, both corners. Now look here. Now look, over here, step back up a little bit. Step back a little bit, please. Now, if he goes right there, I'm not going to call it low. All right, if he goes right there, I'm not going to call it low. You've been through the instructions one time. That's a tough, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Any questions from the challenger? The champion. Let's get it on.
They always take charge referee Mills Lane, who has his own syndicated court show on TV these days. We take a look at Bernard Hopkins, inactive 207 days, exactly the same as Allen. His last fight, January 31st. Not what you call a blazing fast starter, but in short time, he can heat it up, get busy, as he's ready to take on the #1 contender, Robert Allen. Hopkins' major assets are conditioning and combination punching. And here we go. The champion, Bernard Hopkins, wearing the black trunks, and the challenger, Robert Allen, in the red. Allen, once homeless in L.A., lived in a downtown community known as Tent City. He was befriended by a couple who more or less adopted him. Then at 19, he joined the Marines. He's worked his way all the way up to #1.
You know, Steve, both of these fighters are excellent counterpunchers that will lay in wait for you. So this could be real boring at the start. Each one waiting for the other to make a move, commit themselves to a mistake. And there you see it. It's a little bit boring right away.
Bertie Hopkins said he wanted to blow Allen away. Is he taking Allen perhaps a little too lightly and looking ahead to fights perhaps with Roy Jones or Oscar De La Hoya?
Yeah, I think he's got this one in the bag already. I think he's one of these kind of guys that says, yeah, this guy can't stand here with me. Let's look forward and see what we get on with Jones or somebody else in another category. But I think he's got a lot on his plate right now, and he's going to have to prove something to Allen to win.
Hopkins about a 4-1 favorite coming in. Allen said he wanted to counterpunch all night long, as Bobby mentioned. Every time Hopkins throws his right, Allen says he'll throw the left. And keys could be speed and outside boxing. Allen is a southpaw, but he is a natural righty, so he does have power in both hands.
You know, his right uppercut is excellent, and his right hook's not bad either. There you saw sort of a looping roundhouse left. Not very effective, but it sounded good.
Yeah, it landed on a glove, but I mean, he's got to feel that. I mean, that landed on a glove flush. He's got to feel something.
Hopkins' head will be exposed, and he'll take advantage, according to Robert Allen. He told that to us in our meeting yesterday. He said from viewing tapes, he's noticed that. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
And there was Bernard Hopkins just there with a big right hand to the body, making good his prediction that body work will be a factor.
Hopkins laughing at Allen after that straight left hand, taunting him a little bit. Wild swing and a miss there by Allen. Allen told us his southpaw style will be a major factor.
Well, Bobby has pointed out that right jab is a feel-out round. You've seen it all of this round. It's just exactly what Bobby said. Feels out, not trying to hurt you with the jab, just trying to find you and then zing the left hand. You know better than that.
Well, Robert Allen just gave him 2 shoulders. He slammed the shoulder up in Hopkins' face a little bit. He got cute, and that's something that was way too blatant.
Yeah, you can't get away with that with Mills Lane. You know better than that. Stop that.
We approach the final 20 seconds of the opening round.
Aren't anything to pick from in this round. Both of them feeling out. No one landing anything serious.
A relatively uneventful first round as we head for the bell. Well, Robert Allen gets very emotional when he talks about his late trainer, Abdul Malik Muhammad. You saw the picture earlier. He was killed this past May by a drunk driver. Muhammad, whose Christian name was King Solomon, was out for an evening jog when his life was cut short.
My relationship with Malik Muhammad. I can feel him in my heart, in my mind, and I feel him all around me. Every time I think about this fight and I close my eyes, I can see a picture of his face. So he's right there with me, but his absence is totally felt. He helped me get to this point. Well, I got the tattoo because, you know, he's with me in my heart, and I know he'd always be with me, and it's just something I want to dedicate to him. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. It was what I wanted to do. My momentum to him so he could always be with me.
Robert Allen overcome with emotion. Malik Muhammad only 50 when he died a senseless death. He was much more than a trainer to Allen. He was also a father figure and a mentor. The new trainer for Robert Allen, the veteran Pepe Correa, who trained Lennox Lewis, Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm sure you know the name.
I'll tell you what, the first round was a big feeling out round for both sides. Now they go back to the corner. That's where the adjustments will be made. You will see some action this round. I'd be willing to bet on it.
You saw it already. It just started and the action picked up. I mean, you could tell from the booing, nothing happened that first round.
No, I had the score after the first round 0-0.
I got it, Bobby. Same thing.
Not much happened.
Well, we're in agreement on an even round, which is unusual for Bobby and unusual for me. I don't like to go even rounds, but man, there was nothing to pick from.
Great right hand there by Hopkins.
That was mostly blocked by Allen, but I'll tell you what, they're both now looking to do a little more offense and a lot less defense.
Yeah, Hopkins came right down the pike with that one, right straight down. It was partially blocked, but it was a good shot.
Hopkins, trim fit, well-defined body, very strong physically and mentally. Strength is usually the overriding factor. Very aggressive. Relies mainly on his power. 26 knockouts and 34 wins. Confident, commanding, conditioned, consistent. He's a busy fighter for the most part, but not really overwhelming with one thing. Generally likes to put on the pressure.
The double and triple jab for Allen has worked 2 or 3 times, and yet he's not doing enough of it. There's not a lot of energy being expended here. The pace is very slow. He's got the time and he's got the energy to pump that jab, fire the left hand down the middle to the head or body. That looks like it'll be effective, at least right now.
Allen says he's been preparing for this fight for about a year. It's been on his mind a long time.
Things getting dirty. Things are getting dirty. Look at that. That's laces in the face. No good.
Robert Allen rubbing the laces into the face of Bernard Hopkins.
Do a better job than that, okay? Come on, let's go. Come on.
Well, you can see that neither one are intimidated by the other, and they're trying to show a little down and dirty to show that, hey, you're in here with a man.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that in-your-face kind of thing to show who's boss, but right now, no one has the bragging right to that.
Both of them are landing, not solidly, but starting to open this fight up.
Allen's people feel that those gym wars in Philadelphia have taken their toll on Hopkins, but Hopkins said he stopped the gym wars. And he's going to start taking it out on his opponents during the fights.
Gym wars are the most senseless thing that ever happened to Philadelphia fighters. They ruin more fighters than anybody else in boxing.
All right, now. Close it now. You close it. They ain't got nothing. They don't have a thing for you, son. Nothing at all. Nothing for you. Nothing for you. Close in. Close in. All right? Close in. Rip them double shots in the body. Rip them in the body.
All right, let's take a look at that slip that was really, truly a slip. It wasn't a knockdown. It didn't count because Mills Lane's right on top of it. But you can see, look, he's maneuvered down, as we always see in left-handed fighters. And Bobby?
Well, you know, on the inside, these guys are both trying to get a little extra. And here's you see the lace. He's just shoving it right in Bernard's face, is Robert Allen. And that's a clear lace. I don't know if he meant to lace him as much as he meant to push his face, as if to say in your face. But either way, that's not going to last a long time because Mills Lane will start taking points away immediately.
Perhaps Allen trying to get Hopkins upset, take him out of his game plan. Here we go into round 3, scheduled for 12 for the IBF middleweight championship.
Up to this point, certainly no one's taking command, and certainly the champion has not shown himself to be a 4-1 favorite in this. They're just even. They're going right down evenly, with Allen doing a little bit more aggressiveness, a little bit more pushing and making the fight.
Well, at this pace, the fight clearly goes to a decision unless somebody gets hit with a one-punch shot, because there's not a lot of combinations. There's not a lot of clean punches being landed. Very slow as far as energy outlays.
Oh, look at this. Look at it. Pure wrestling stuff. Pure wrestling. Oh, Mills has got his hands full today.
Well, things getting a little out of hand now here in round 3. Holding, pushing, shoving.
Robert Allen on the inside is holding on a little too strong, a little too hard, I think. He should counter a little more and not worry about Bernard's hands. Keep his defense tight and counter. He's got the quicker hands. Bernard a little bit the heavier puncher.
Both are guilty of holding and hitting.
It's getting to be a dirty fight. I mean, this is dirty on the inside. Low blow, very low blow by Allen, but on the other side of Mills. Didn't see it.
That was mid-thigh.
Yeah, he didn't see it. Mills did not see it.
Watch on the inside when they go together in a clinch. Allen seems to be connecting with uppercuts.
Allen right now, the busier, he's dictating the fight. He's going after him, but it's not by any means a clear-cut regard. He's just going after him.
He's not necessarily the effective aggressor all the time, but right now he's forcing the fight.
It didn't look like, you know, we said that the execution comes slowly to the fight. Well, it's the 3rd round. He better start heating up, getting a little can of Sterno under him, because this other guy's getting very, very brave. Allen's getting brave.
Allen's corner said that you just can't let Hopkins take the lead. Got to take control of the fight, and so far Allen's been successful.
Well, you know what? I think both of them right now maybe have just a little too much respect for the other's punching power, because they're moving and flinching at every body move, every body movement, and you know that's a way to waste a lot of energy.
There's a good straight left hand by the challenger. Robert Allen was partially blocked by the gloves of Hopkins, but got his point across.
And he got Hopkins driven into the ropes where he stayed. If he wanted to attack him, if Allen had wanted to, he was there for him, but Allen thought the best of it.
Little quick sneak attack there, straight right hand that got through by the champion Hopkins. Good counter punch with the overhand right by Allen. Top of the head.
Yep, right behind the ear on the top of the head. That does not feel good.
Right now, Allen's taking just a little bit of the momentum in the fight. He's being the effective aggressor for the majority of the round. Neither have really landed clean punches, but I think right now, based on the aggressive nature, it's an Allen round.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Final seconds of round 3. Well, a reminder, Evander Holyfield defends his WBA and IBF heavyweight titles against #1 contender Vaughn Bean, September 19th, live on Showtime.
He chose to fight live on Showtime instead of on pay-per-view for the heavyweight championship of the world. He chose to risk his title against the #1 contender, live on America's #1 boxing network. He's the real deal, Evander Holyfield. Holyfield versus Vaughn Bean for the world heavyweight title. Saturday, September 19th at 10, only on Showtime.
And later in our telecast, we'll hear from the WBA and IBF heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield from his home in Atlanta. A pre-taped interview as Jim Gray sat down with the real deal to talk about the fight. So stay with us. Here we go into round 4 as Robert Allen comes off a pretty good round, that last round.
If he wanted to build up a little tiny lead and then see what happens, he's got it. He's got the lead, and the champion has not. He blew the first round. He blew the first round. It was an even round. He's blown the other 2. So I think he better start fighting.
Well, you know, I actually have it 1-1-1, so I still have this fight starting all over again. I thought Hopkins threw a couple more effective punches, a little more effective in the second round.
Come on.
But again, there's very little to measure here.
Hopkins rocked.
Allen landed a very good shot. Oh, he turned his back and got hit right in the kidney.
Allen continues to be the aggressor and effective.
I'll tell you what, there's a little counter left hook there that caught Allen in the side of either the ear or the temple that Hopkins thought hurt him, because he wobbled just a little bit. You can see in his eyes.
I'll tell you, Allen is game, ready to mix it up and trade with the champion.
He's getting the better of every one of those exchanges. Every one of them ends up in Allen's favor.
And I think the speed might be the factor. A little extra speed.
He said that would be a key difference. Speed and quickness, his elusivity. He said he's just a better athlete than Bernard Hopkins. Got better hand speed and foot speed.
He sure triggers off counter punches very fast. He has great reflexes.
But don't count Hopkins out because he's got a big punch. There's a wild miss, and Hopkins didn't answer, though.
You know, he let Allen force it and then get through a few more shots in, most on the gloves. But he did not answer, Steve, and that's key. He's got to counter those punches. He's got to make Allen pay when he misses.
I'm surprised by that. He did not counter punch with the right.
Now, he's fighting too tentative as the champion. Champion's not taking it to Allen. He's responding to his punches and not responding well. There's that measuring jab, double jab, just to see where you are before he throws that other punch. Ooh.
See, now that punch is blocked in midair by Allen's glove. He's got excellent reflexes. He picked that punch off. He still threw a few. He's looking very sharp right now. He's a little bit in the zone, I'd say.
You know, Bobby, he's thrown some such hard punches that if one of them lands, this is going to change his fight around. He's missed them all, but boy, has he thrown some very, very hard uppercuts and winging hooks. Hooks that should take your head off if they land.
Freddie, I'm sure the adrenaline is very high for both fighters, especially Allen. He's in a big situation. He can be an overnight hero and champion and beat the best in the division. He's got to be pumping his heart. He's got to be racing.
And Allen has to feel confident, feeling he has the edge because of his southpaw stance. Allen got in a wicked left uppercut there and continues to hold it. Mills Lane trying to break Allen away from Hopkins, and he goes through the ropes and down to the ground.
A knockdown for Mills Lane. Mills actually pushed him through the ropes. Now, it wouldn't be something if he couldn't continue. Now, look at it. He's still down. He's still down there. He fell all the way down to the ground.
Unbelievable.
That's a drop of about 3 feet while you're moving. Now, the crowd, he's not up. He is not up.
You know what, guys? I couldn't see exactly what he hit, but I think I heard him hit something on the other side of the ring before he got to the floor.
Well, there's chairs, all kind of things over there, Bobby. None of them designed to make you feel comfortable. When you land on those, you break things.
No cushions on that side.
So here's the commissioner, the doctor. The commission doctor's already over there, and this guy's not getting up. Now this would be, he's in pain. He's in pain. He's not going to continue this fight. This fight is not going to go. This is going to be an interesting call because he actually was pushed out by the referee.
Bernard Hopkins in obvious pain after going through the ropes. The last man who touched him was Mills Lane. And he goes down to the ground hard. Gets up very slowly. And now he goes back down.
I would not make that man come back and fight a fight against the guy that's fighting as hard as this other guy. Not possible. Not possible for him to continue.
Purdy, have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah, I saw. Let's stop him.
Very
They're taking his gloves off. He's going to take his gloves off. That's it. He's going to take his gloves off. I saw Wilfred Scipion and Mustafa Amsho do this, where they couldn't continue. Went right through like a bullet and landed on.
Unified rules say that he has 20 seconds to get back into the ring unassisted, or it's a TKO. But in this case, it was the referee who tossed him.
The referee was trying to break him up and push him apart. And as he pushed him apart, Bernard Hopkins tripped, slipped on his own feet, and rolled right out of the ring. I mean, literally rolled out.
I would think you'd have to call this a no contest. I mean, I don't know what you could call this. I mean, you can't lose a championship on this. You just have to no contest and do it again. I mean, this is just one of those strange. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen on Showtime. Have you noticed? You just started this tonight, Steve. You said, oh, nothing happens tonight. And the first fight we got to happen.
Well, before the broadcast, I commented, we just about have seen it all. We've seen rings caved in. We've seen ear biting. Now we see a referee throw the champion out of the ring. The fight is obviously over.
They haven't made any sign.
Robert Allen, with his jacket on, raises his hands in victory.
I don't think it's going to be quite that easy.
I don't know. It's got to be a no contest. I mean, it's nobody's fault.
Controversy in Las Vegas again. Mark Ratner, the head of the commission, is in the ring. We're trying to get an explanation from Mills Lane, who's shouting over to Ferdy.
The fight, Doc, it's my call, man. It's my call.
In order to be the next,
I think this is going to be a no contest, no fault of anybody's.
Yeah, it didn't go 4 rounds.
They've already stopped it, man. Come on, man. Look at me.
Yeah, in all likelihood, there's Dan Goosen of America Presents, who handles Bernard Hopkins, shaking his head in disgust with Mills Lane. What a bizarre turn of events here. Bernard Hopkins through the ropes, inadvertently thrown out by the referee, Mills Lane. Pepe Correa, who is a trainer for Hopkins, over here talking with Ferdy, trying to get some kind of an explanation.
Well, Steve, I think no contest is what this has to be called, because it's one of those things where Allen didn't knock him out of the ring. So it wasn't Allen's doing that
1 year for Bernard.
Injured or
I understand both
incapacitated Hopkins. I can't see that they could make Allen champion.
You know, he was accidentally pushed out of the ring by the referee. Well, a person from the public relations department telling us a technical draw, did you say?
Sit down.
Well, we'll wait. All right, what a mess here in Las Vegas. We'll get the official indication momentarily, and then hopefully be able to toss it over to Jim Gray to try to clean up some of the mess and get some explanations for people in the know. Been out of the ring for about 5 minutes now. Bernard Hopkins now sitting, kind of perplexed and dumbfounded, as we all are.
Hold on. You've been champion. You didn't just win a championship. You've been doing it all.
Bobby, is this a first for you?
You know, this is the first I've ever seen the referee actually cause somebody to go flying out of the ring, number one. Number two, I watched pretty close the way this fight was unfolding, and my prediction is that Robert Allen was starting to take charge of the fight. Bernard Hopkins was having some difficulty gauging him, gauging his southpaw, gauging his speed. I don't know if Hopkins is considering getting back in the ring. He's just sitting there.
No. That's out. That's out. He's
Mark
not
Ratner
coming.
said it's over. Fight's over.
That's out. What they're going to call it, Bobby, that's different. That's what they're going to argue about. Is it a technical draw? Is it a no contest? That's just sort of what name are we going to hang on this?
Well, fellas, they're still deliberating.
You know, there have been a number of times we've seen fighters get fouled, and the foul not be as bad as we think, or not as bad as they appear to be. I know we saw that Terry Norris got disqualified in Mexico, and it clearly didn't look like
yeah, but Bobby, all the equipment is off everybody. The fight's off. Don't even think about the fight being on.
Fight's not continuing, but what I'm wondering is this. If the fight's going a certain way and one of the fighters has a foul, maybe he makes more out of it.
As we continue to await a resolution of this strange scene.
All right,
let's take a look.
Let's replay this. Now, you see that arm lock that he's got there? He's protecting himself, but Allen's got the arm lock, and he's punching once he gets it. Now, here comes Mills. Mills is trying to get him apart, but they're not going. Oh, that's right in the face by Mills. Mills pushes him, and the last guy to touch Hopkins is Mills. And Hopkins goes out like a flying torpedo and lands on the floor.
You know, from overhead, you can see that they're clearly tangled up. Hopkins is trying to get a shot in, so what happens? Allen tries to get a little shot in too. He'll put a little shot in. Back and forth they go. Mills Lane has to get in between them to separate them, but here he puts his hand right on Allen's face, which I'm sure he didn't mean to do on purpose. He was just trying to break him, but because of the balance, still holding on Allen, Hopkins was off balance, and he threw him right through the ropes. And there you can see as he falls, I can't see if there's anything he hit.
There was nothing there.
I'd be willing to bet he hit something.
All right, there was nothing there. Watch the forearm of Lane. Once he puts his hands on the face, there you go. Now watch the forearm of Lane. See, watch him. See. There he goes. And that's he was trying to drive him apart, and he drove him out of the ring. See, he did not hit anything but floor. There was nothing there but floor, and that hurts, gentlemen and ladies. That hurts.
Hopkins obviously off balance, and then the left forearm of Mills helped him along. Let's go up to Jimmy Lennon Jr. and finally get an official announcement here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout has been stopped at 2 minutes, 57 seconds of round number 4. While the fighters were wrestling on the clinch, Bernard Hopkins accidentally fell out of the ring, unable to continue as he sustained injuries. Therefore, this is now a no contest. Bernard Hopkins retains his title.
All right, let's get it over to Jim Gray right now with Bernard Hopkins.
All right, thank you very much. Right now, Bernard Hopkins having words with Mills Lane.
Work on that rematch. This time won't be like that.
Settle down.
Bernard, tell us exactly what happened to you, Bernard. You've hurt your ankle.
Wait till I get an X-ray, man.
What happened to your ankle, and tell us what happened in your opinion.
I was grabbing Robert Allen. I hit him with like I think a right hand and left hook, and he grabbed me, held on to me, and I heard Mills said, break, 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 and then he pushed me, and I tried to grab on the ropes, and as I went on the ropes, I tumbled over, and my knee, I guess, twisted. I just felt like burning sensation in my ankle. And then when I tried to like get up on my side, it just started thriving.
So you couldn't continue, or did the doctor determine you couldn't continue?
I was going to try to get in the ring, but I tried to get up like another 20 seconds. I was trying to at least get up and see if I could stand on him with no problem. I'm from Philadelphia. I'm a warrior, man. We fight with one arm, one eye. Make no difference. I'm not a quitter. I'll fight this guy in 30 days if they put it up. As long as my ankles come, I can fight him.
There seemed to be a lot of tactics going on between you guys, a lot of pushing and wrestling and shoving. He laced you a couple of times.
He wanted the way out. Listen, tapes don't tell lies. They real popular in court. You can ask the judge, Mill Lane. They're real popular. They don't lie. It's not illusion. He was trying to do my face with the raking. He was holding. I did a little holding too. I ain't gonna say I'm the honest cat in it, but I did. It comes with boxing. I don't complain. I didn't say one thing to Mr. Lane. I'll continue to try to, do my craft, and then things happen. And whether he meant it or not, I mean, I'm not a crybaby. I want a immediate rematch with this guy, and I'm still champion. I'm not gonna duck him. I want to prove that I'm the best middleweight in the world.
Bernard, let's take a look at the monitor right here across from us, and tell us exactly what's going on right here and what Mills Lane is saying.
He got me in the headlock. He got me in the headlock, and I'm trying to hit him with one hand. Mr. Lane said, as long as you got one hand and you're in the clinch, you still can punch. That man, Lane, I think, is saying, break up, break, break, break. And at the time I got my arm spread out, ready to break, he takes his right arm and shoves me out the ring.
And your ankle gets held up right there.
I don't know how. I mean, I flipped out the ring. If I was a wrestler, I don't know how to fall. I don't know how to fall.
What did you say to Mills Lane? You did not like taking this victory, do you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a Philadelphia fighter. And I don't like, I don't like this type. I've seen Roy Jones for Montel Griffin. I think he quit. And I don't want my fans to say that. I mean, people are going to love you. And people
it's not a victory. You just retain your title.
I mean, that's, if I was the type of fighter that was glad to get a victory no matter how I got it and just take the check, then I'll be happy. But I like to win with a KO victory or victory on my record. I'm trying to prove that I'm the best pound for pound in the world. And junior middleweight to super middleweight, I want to take all the champions. And this, I don't think helped me at all make that claim until we do it again. I wanted to do this fight again. Champions do that.
All right, Bernard, we hope your ankle's all right. We have Mills Lane here with us. Mills, what is the ruling on this exactly? You were trying to break the two guys up, and then Bernard went out of the ring.
He did go out of the ring, and I'll tell you this, I do not in any way think Bernard Hopkins quit. I do not believe that. It was an accident. They were wrestling around. The other kid had him in a clinch. I was trying to get him broke. They were near the corner. The rope was a little bit loose, not too bad, but they came toward the apron, and Bernard fell out. I could hear the crack when he went down on the deck. I know this man. I've watched him fight. I watched him train. No way is he a quitter. It was going to be a rough, tough fight.
I don't think anyone's suggesting that.
Yeah. Well, so many people are great, mooing and this and that, the other thing, but these things happen in boxing.
Let's take a look at it. Okay. We have a different angle. What is it that you're doing, and are you part of this at all? Are you part of this push at all, Mills?
Well, I guess my momentum is there, no question. He's got him around the head. I'm trying to push the glove back. As I try to push the glove back, then they go toward the ring. I try to separate him, then Bernard goes out.
And your left forearm, they're a little push too, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess my momentum's part of it.
So was it your decision, Bernard's decision, or Flip Homansky, who has also now joined us, that Bernard could not continue? Flip, let us ask you that.
It was my decision that he could not continue. It was actually my recommendation to Mills. He came down right on his ankle. It was twisted when we first got to him. He can't put any pressure on it at all.
Are you concerned it may be fractured?
Sure, and we will x-ray it.
Mills, why does this stuff always happen to you?
Oh, God, who knows? You play the cards you dealt. You play them the best you can. Bernard, it'll be other days, young man. Don't worry about it. There'll be other days. You did the best you could. Good up.
All right. Thank you both. Bernard, good luck to you. We hope you feel better. Steve?
All right, Jim, thank you very much. On the official judges' scorecard, just for the record, Hopkins was up 2 rounds to 1. Heading into round number 4, and at 2:57 of the 4th round, Hopkins knocked out of the ring, and the doctor recommended that he couldn't continue, a possible fracture of the ankle, as you just heard. So it's ruled a no contest, and Bernard Hopkins retains his IBF middleweight championship in a most bizarre way. Unbelievable. Let's go back now to Jim Gray. Let's get Robert Allen's point of view.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. Robert, your point of view on this whole thing, it appears by watching the videotape, and we'll give you a chance after you respond, that you threw him out of the ring.
Well, we got caught in the clinches. You know, it was a rough and tough fight, but Bernard fights that way. He punch in the clinches, hold, push, L. He's a rough, tough fighter. You know, so I didn't throw him out of the ring. I just slipped to the side. He fell through the ropes and hit the bottom, and I mean, boxing terminology, he didn't fall. I mean, he could have got up and fought.
Well, no, the Dr. Flip Pomansky tells us that it could be a possible fracture of his ankle, so he's not. That's a very unfair assessment, and that's not accurate. Let's get back to this, however, right here. It was kind of a wrestling match. There was a lot of physical activity going on. Did it turn into something that you wanted? Was this your tactic going in, or was this not the type of fight that you were looking for?
Well, I was looking for a boxing match, you know, pick up the pace and initiate the contact, initiate the fight, but you know, Bernard fights that way inside, rough and tough. He wants to put his head down, come forward, throw elbows, and rough you up. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to allow it, so I did a little roughing up too. So it just happened.
He says, Bernard Hopkins says, that you did this, Robert, because you wanted out of the fight, that he didn't feel that you could beat him.
I was looking to win the championship tonight. I mean, I was winning the fight by large. You know what I'm saying? And every round.
Let's take a look at it and get your assessment as we roll the videotape here. In the clinch. Tell us what's happening.
See, look at the punch in the joint. Look at the point holding hit. Look at that.
Robert, go ahead. What's happening?
Well, it's just rough and tussle kind of fight, you know.
And you just pushed him right there. You wouldn't release the headlock.
It's the referee between the both of us. I mean, it's just one of those things in boxing.
What would you suggest as a remedy here now? Do you want another fight?
You got to do it again. You know that. Come on. I was winning the fight by large, but no, I didn't want to be. I mean, I was a little stronger. He's a lot older. He's going to lose the fight tonight, no doubt. He has experience. I made a few mistakes, but he's going to lose this fight tonight.
It wasn't your dirty tactics that caused the end of this fight.
Dirty tactics? I mean, it was boxing. Rough and tough fight. That's the way that guy fight. We both fought a rough and tough fight.
The audience can't understand when 4 people are talking. Let's let Robert talk.
Well, it's a rough and tough fight. That's the kind of fight he initiates. We fought it. It was rough and tough, banging, inside in the clinches. Mills had to break us up. One of those kind of fights. He fell in through the ropes. I mean, we got to do it again, no doubt.
All right, Robert. We look forward to seeing it.
All right, no problem.
Back to you, Steve.